So we'll get started. I want to begin by saying that this is a beginner training. So if you have advanced or intermediate skill even, this might not be of interest to you. Just to let you know, we're separating it out so that the training that comes in the first of the month is the beginner training, and the one that comes at the end of the month is the more advanced training. We're doing that to try to help people find the right place where they are with the program. And we tried to change the names in Zoom, but it's all the same link, and Zoom doesn't let you differentiate webinar names once you've created a webinar. So just make a note to yourself, the first training in the month is beginner, the last training is more advanced. Okay, so let's get started. I am going to get my SHS program up and running here. And I thought what I would do today is just sort of, go through a case, go through some rubrics, get them on a clipboard, just kind of go step by step about how to progress yourself with SHS to, analyze, to get your case going. And Maggie is here to help me today. She will look for your questions, and it's informal. So I'm happy to interrupt, whatever I'm doing to answer a question on the spot. Feel free to.
So Lucy, just one of those questions that has come in that you might cover as you go is, okay, so the question is, please show how to see all symptoms of a specific remedy.
Okay.
So maybe using the reverse rep or something.
Okay, I've made a note of that. And when I get to the clipboard, I'll certainly show you that. All right, so let's get started. This is the SHS 1.3.1. If you haven't gotten onto that yet, you can see that it looks a little bit different from the 1.2 series that we had. More color, and it's got some good features that we've already covered. Oh, and I'm going to hit I think we are recording, aren't we? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Sometimes we forget to hit that record button, but it worked out this time. All right. So let's say I've got a case, and one of the first symptom I'm going to look for here in repertory module. If you look on the left side of the icons palette over here, this is how you navigate around SHS. And when this closed book icon is highlighted, that means that you are in repertory module. So I'm in repertory module, and I want to find some rubrics. And the rubric that I want to find is in the throat chapter. This particular case has pain, burning pain in the throat. Now you can come over here to the picture icons, and you could click throat internal. I'm on the reliable repertory. That book is highlighted on the left side. I can also open the book to expose the chapters by clicking on the plus sign. And you can also see the chapters this way on the left side. And so according to which way you prefer to work, you can either come over here and click throat internal over here on the left side, or you can click it in the right pane, and either way, you will get to that chapter. And so the windows can be positioned however you want them, however you're comfortable. Let's say you did want to switch chapters by clicking over here on the list, which by the way is in the order of Kent. The reliable repertory is the chapters are ordered in the same way that Kent orders the chapters. So that should be familiar to you. So you could either click over here to get to the next chapter, or I'll show you how you can very easily get back to the picture icons. So I'm in the internal throat chapter, and I'm going to type on my keyboard, just on the keyboard. I'm not going to type to search window. I'm going to type PAI. And now I've immediately arrived at the pain rubric by doing that, by using that keyboard shortcut. I could have also scrolled all the way down to the P's, but in my mind, it's easier to use that 3-letter shortcut to hop myself down to the P rubrics, PAI for pain. And so now you can see that pain has a plus sign next to it. That means that they're sub-rubrics. And I probably do want to go into sub-rubrics and get closer to, because it was a burning pain. So I'm going to hit the right directional arrow. That puts pain up here on the breadcrumb string. Now I'm looking at the sub-rubrics of pain for the internal throat. And I want to find burning. So I'm going to type on my keyboard, BUR. Okay, burning and smarting. So here's this rubric. Maybe she has burning actually when she swallows. So I'm going to go into these sub-rubrics by hitting the right directional arrow again. And I'm going to type on my keyboard SWA to hop down to the swallowing. Now you can see that swallowing has 0 remedies in it. If I hit return right now, which I'm doing, a clipboard opened, but no rubric went on that clipboard because there are 0 remedies in that rubric. And if you have a 0 count rubric, it will not go on a clipboard. But I'm going to go into swallowing because you can see that there's sub-rubrics. So I'm going to hit the right directional arrow. And that's the rubric I actually want, is that swallowing aggravates the pain, the burning pain. So I can take that rubric to the clipboard. I'm going to hit return. You can see that the rubric here is added to this clipboard number 1. And I'm ready to move on to the next symptom in my case. Now she said she also has hoarseness. So what I want to do is I'm going to look for hoarseness. Maybe I'm going to go back to internal throat. So I can do that very easily by clicking up here on the breadcrumb string, throat internal. I can also go one step at a time backwards by hitting the left directional arrow. But I'm going to go ahead and click here. And on my keyboard, I'll type HOA. And there's no hoarseness here. And so that's when I might, now, if you know your repertories, you'll know that you need to go to the larynx and trachea chapter for that. But maybe I'm not as familiar with the repertories and I'm wondering, well, how do I find hoarseness now? And what you can do is come up here to the global search window. It's here at the top of your program, available to you anywhere you are in the program. So I'm in repertory module and I can use it. But if I was in any of the other modules, I could also pop up here to this global search window and put in a search. So I'm going to put in the search for horse because I need to find that rubric. And I'm going to hit return to activate my search. Okay, and so now you see that I'm in the global search module, which is on the icons palette on the left side, is the magnifying glass. So I'm in the search. It came in on the reliable repertory because that's the repertory that I do have chosen to come up first. It's my default #1 repertory. And so it comes in by chapter, and you'll see that there are actually some mind rubrics that have the word horse, head, eyes, vision. But I'm just going to scroll down, and I knew I couldn't find it in throat internal before, but let's see what's there now. Okay, and so here you see certain horse rubrics, but all of them appear to be somewhat smaller than I really want. This one has dryness. So I'm going to keep looking, stomach, rectum, female. Okay, let's go to the larynx, trachea. Maybe that's the place to go. So I'm going to click there. And sure enough, this is the meatier, better rubric that I actually want to take to my clipboard, that there's hoarseness at the level of, in the larynx and trachea, chronic with the affectations. So from global search, I can actually take this rubric, and maybe I think the second one applies as well. I can take, by holding down the command key, I can select both of these rubrics and take them together to the clipboard by hitting return. I can also click, hold, and drag to the clipboard, but That's another way. And so you can see those two rubrics have now gone onto the clipboard. We've gone from 1 rubric to 3 because I added these 2. Okay, so let's say another one of her symptoms is that she is very thirsty for cold water. I could go back to the repertories and find it that way. But while I'm in global search, I love global search. It's one of the best features of SHS in my mind, because it allows you to search. You're in every single book. And so what I'm going to do now is just put in the global search window, thirst, cold water, and I'm going to activate this search. I can hit the return key, and what that will do is override my tab over here, which is the horse tab, the first search that I did. But I want to create a new tab so that I can keep my old search intact. So instead of hitting the return key or this search icon over here, I'm going to hit the plus sign here. This is going to activate my new search in a new tab. And so I, again, come in on the reliable first, but any one of these books in global search has a result. So I'll stick with the reliable for now. And I'm going to go to the stomach chapter because I know that that is where I'll find the rubric that I'm looking for. And here you see it, thirst for cold water. So I'm going to grab that and put it on my clipboard. And if you think, if you want a rubric that's even bigger than this, maybe you can go and check out some other repertories and see. Okay, there's that. Interesting that the complete doesn't really have the similar. It's interesting. This is a great way to compare your repertories when you're in global search. You get to know the differences. So here we found a rubric that I felt that I really wanted from the reliable, but when you come down to the complete, I'm not getting the same. I can go ahead and take that rubric and I'll show you how to combine them once we get to the clipboard. But it's interesting that I don't have an option in the, what I could do here is take out the word thirst and activate this search. I'm just curious to see if I can find a bigger rubric in the complete as well. Come down here, go back to the complete. See, now I've got a lot more choices. I'm going to go to the stomach chapter. Go down to the generalities chapter. I'm going to...
Lucy, could you just explain the keystrokes that you're making to put rubrics onto the clipboard?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Once you've highlighted a rubric, and Maggie, do you know where I'd find that rubric?
Sorry, I'm typing answers here. It wasn't.
Oh, no worries.
What one are you looking for?
I'm looking for desire of cold water in the complete. And for some reason, I can't remember where it is. Let me put the word desire.
Generalities, food and drinks.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. But it's such a small rubric, which is very interesting. I'll go ahead and take it, and I will show you how to combine. I will show you how to combine those rubrics. So what I did was I highlight the rubric and I hit return. I can also click, hold, and drag like that. And that would also add a rubric to a clipboard. So either way, highlight and hit return. If you're on a Windows computer, that's enter, or click, hold, and drag. Okay, so we found that. The client that I'm working with also has burning pain in the back. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to burning pain. And I'm going to filter for the back chapters. I type the word back. I let my cursor stop without putting a space. Right at the K, you can see where it's blinking. And I wait for that drop-down menu. And here where it says the back section, I want to click that. And what that did is turned the word back blue. And you know that a filter has been placed, which will only look in the back chapter. So I'm going to activate this search. And I found this rubric, which is very nice, burning back pain. I'm going to take that to the clipboard. Now, if you want to, if you know that it's a certain place in the back, maybe it's between the shoulder blades, you can scroll and you can see that the result comes up alphabetically. So the cervical area would be before the dorsal area, coccyx is before dorsal. But here we have burning pain in the dorsal region, in the region of the scapula even. So this would probably be, you know, the rubric that would be more pertinent to the case, if that's where she has the pain. So I highlighted it and I'm hitting return. All right, and then the other thing was the fear that something bad was going to happen. So I'm going to put up here, you know, often people are trying to type a whole rubric. You don't want to do that. You want to pick out the keywords of a rubric when you're using global search. So I'm just going to put the words fear and happen up there in global search because I know that will lead me to the rubric that I'm thinking of in the mind chapter. So here we have the result. It comes right up here, the mind, the fear that something will happen. Now I could put that on clipboard number 1. Some people like to put their mental symptoms on a different clipboard and keep the, you know, physical symptoms on a different one. That's very easy to do. You have 20 clipboards that you have access to. You simply click on this bottom icon on the palette to open a new clipboard. Or another way to open a new clipboard is if you click, hold, and drag the rubric that you want to place on a new clipboard to the icon. And you see that opened clipboard number 2 automatically. And now that is the active. Anytime a clipboard has the aqua color around it, that means it's the active clipboard. So if I went back and I wanted to put another physical symptom on clipboard number 1, I would need to drag that rubric to clipboard number 1. But right now, while I'm in the mental clipboard, number 2 there, I can, you know, continue to add some mental symptoms there. Let's say that we also want to find anxiety. That's easy enough. And let me go ahead and do that in the repertory module, which we are here in. It's easy enough. I just want to show you again, you can do either. You can either go to repertory module and navigate for rubrics within the repertory module, or you can find them up here in global search. So here we are in the repertory, and I'm going to type ANX on my keyboard. And I'm going to scroll for anxiety here. It's right here. And I'm going to go into anxiety. And I also want to show you, something with it that's new to this version of 1.3.1, and that's you can actually search within the chapters too. So you have a little mini search capability here within one chapter. And let's say that she got very anxious, you know, what would make her anxious when she was coughing, maybe. Let me just put that in there. I didn't even put a coughing rubric, but we can go find one. And so anxiety during coughing, you know, here would be something, this is what makes her anxious and she's so afraid that something bad's going to happen. Anyway, so I'm going to hit this and put that in the clipboard number 2. That's good for the mental symptoms. Let's go back and find a cough rubric that's applicable. So I'm going to go into the cough chapter simply by clicking on the left pane here, cough. And let's say she coughs in the evening. So we'll click there. And I want this to go on the physical clipboard. So again, I'm going to click, hold, and drag to clipboard number 1. That was the one that had the physical symptoms on it. Okay, so now we have all the rubrics that we're going to find. Are there any questions so far, Maggie?
Sorry, Lisa. Yes, there's a few questions. Can you show when you go to your clipboards, will you do combining and crossing?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we'll open up the clipboard number 1 here. There were some rubrics I certainly did want to combine. So I'm just going to open
And can
this
you
up.
also, sorry, when you're also in your clipboard, can you show or when you're in the repertory, can you show the view setting so that it's done at the master level instead of the chapter level?
Sure.
Because Josie is talking about how he keeps changing.
Oh, sure. Let me show that now. So I'm going to go in here. Now you're looking at the photo icons. You see these little icons up here on the right, upper right side. This is the master view changing. It changes the view in every chapter in every book. So let's do that. We're going to change this to I want my cross references turned on for all times. Okay. Now when I go into a chapter, it has to be a chapter where cross rubrics are visible. So actually the mind chapter I know has them quite a bit here in the front. So you can see all these cross references show up. Let's turn them off again. Okay, that's how you turn them off. You just go back to the view and you change the view and you hit OK. Now I'm going to go back in the mind chapter. And let's say that, you know, I look at this abhorrence. I'm like, this rubric, it doesn't have remedies in it. It doesn't have any sub-rubrics because there's not a plus sign next to it. Why is it there? And this is what I want. Why can't I have this rubric? This is where cross-references, see, here's the thing. I personally don't like to turn on the cross-references for all the chapters because they do take up a lot of space, as you could see. So what I do is I turn them on when I need them, and I need them right now. So I'm going to come over here to I'm in the mind chapter. You can see that I'm not on the main page. I'm in the mind chapter. I'm going to come over here and turn on cross references here, hit OK. And I'm going to scroll down to that abhorrence. And I'm like, let's scroll again. And you can see here that mind aversion, that's the rubric that the program has to offer you instead of abhorrence. And so that, but I made that change here in the mind chapter, not in the main page. So when I close out of this chapter, when I go to another chapter, let's say now we want to go to kidneys, there are no cross references turned on here.
That's fine, Lucy, thanks.
Okay. And so let's go back to the clipboard. We'll go back to this clipboard. And what I want to do is do some combining first. So what we had was these two about the larynx and the hoarseness. I want to combine those. What I do is I highlight both of them. And to do that, I hold down the command key to highlight that second or third, or, sometimes you might want to combine more than two. And you just hold down the command key so that you're able to, on a Windows computer, you're holding down the control key. Once you have every rubric highlighted that needs to be highlighted, you come up to this icon that says Make Group, looks like a little folder, click it, and I'm going to name it. And now you can see that the combined rubric has been created. and it shows the 2 rubrics that are within it. And I'm going to open this up some more so we can see better. You can see how it shows up on the graph. All right, and so now I'm also going to combine this rubric about the thirst for the cold water with these 2 need to be, and actually this one. So there, that in that case, I'm combining 3 rubrics. And actually there's another one, which I'm going to actually delete. I'll show you how to delete a rubric because I'm going to delete the one below that. So I'm going to combine these. I'm going to come up here to make group, cold water. You can name it anything you wish. I'm going to delete this one below it by simply highlighting, and you can hit the delete key and that will get rid of it on your keyboard. I can also right click to get this menu. Within SHS, there are many right click options. It's good to know how to right click. And on a Mac computer, you right click by holding down the control key as you click, and that will allow you to right click. So you can also delete this way. So I got rid of that one. And now the burning pain, I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this general rubric because I want the more honed in rubric of the pain in the dorsal region. So it's highlighted. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. And then that's gone. And so here we have, just gonna make a note to myself. I'm actually on a version, it's a sort of a development version right now. And I'm seeing more space between my squares than I did on the version before. So I'm actually gonna let development know that. And also the purple circle. All right, and so here we have the clipboard. We've got the rubrics combined that we need to combine. And there's so many things we can do now. So for instance, again, the right click function. Let's say I wanted to go and read arsenicum and silica. I wanted to maybe compare these 2 to determine, better if, to just read about them and try to decide which one is more applicable to my case. Or mesorinum, you could throw that in there as well. You right click, you position your mouse on the name of a remedy, and you can right click. That's one way to get to the reference library. If you know that you want to compare certain remedies, you can actually just go straight to the reference library as well by clicking over here on the icons palette, the open book icon. That would get you straight to reference library, and you could start comparing those remedies that way. But I can also get to the reference library by hovering my mouse and go view the remedy in the reference library. So either way, we'll do that. That got me here. And the reason I came in on Allen's first is because my books are ordered in the reference library. My books are ordered as Allen's, Clark's, Vatok's. That's kind of the default. They put those 3 books at the top as a default, and then everything below that is in alphabetical order. But you can rearrange your books. If you have, 5 books that you like to work out of more than these, you can certainly do that. You would do it under user preferences. And I can show that if people want me to. But you come in on Allen's, but you can see here though, I'm in remedies. In the reference library, you can either choose to come at things by looking at remedies, to having remedies ticked, in which case this type of search window will find remedies, or you can come in and want to go to a book, in which case you would tick the book and the type of search window would find the book. Normally you would put the author name in and the books would come up. But you can see that we came in on the remedy, Arsenicum album, Allen's keynotes. And let's say we wanted to compare, again, arsenicum, silica, and mesorinum. You can get all 3 of them up on tabs on the right side, and I'll show you how to do that. Let's say though that I want to look at them in Photox. I would simply click there, and now you see the information about arsenicum in Photox. But now I also want to get the silica information up. I simply come up here to the type to search window, type SIL period, so that I can find that one. Open it up by clicking the plus sign. And I want to put the Photox tab for silica next to the Photox tab for arsenicum. So what I'm going to do is right click. If I were to just regular click the Photox line here, it would override my arsenicum tab. I want to right click. I'm going to control click if I'm on a Mac. I get the menu open in the new window, and I'm going to click that. Now I've got the Photox information for silica on one tab and the Photox information for arsenicum on another. I can put those side by side so that I can kind of read them kind of next to each other if I want to. Let's say I want to look at the aggravations right next to each other. By the way, if you hover your mouse on the tab, let me move my program up. I had moved it down so that I could see the top of it. If you hover your mouse on the tab, you'll see at the bottom on the status bar, at the very bottom of SHS, you'll see which remedy you're looking at. Arsenicum is that tab. I want to look at both of these side by side. So I'll come over here to this icon here, which is the compare side by side icon. Click it. Now I want to bring the silica tab forward. That's the one I'm going to choose to bring forward. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm looking at those two tabs side by side. And again, you can scroll and read about them. And again, if you're like, oh, forgetting which tab is which, again, if you hover your mouse on it, the bottom status bar will tell you which one that you're on, which one is which. To undo this, you would simply click and undo the tick and hit OK. Now you can put two panels side by side there. But let's say you also wanted to kind of pull mesorinum up and take a look at that. That's where you'd come back here and you'd look for that remedy. Open it up, go to Photox, right click, open that in a new window. And so now you can take a look at that remedy as well. And you could put this side by side with one of the others too. And you don't have to have the same book side by side. It could be two different books with the same remedy, any combination. Any questions?
Not for that in particular.
Okay.
Let me see, what questions do we have here? Sorry, Lucy, did you cover off the one of showing all of the symptoms of a specific remedy?
Not yet. Let me do that.
Okay.
Let's say that you wanted to dive deeper into mesorinum. And so you can, okay, let's go to the books. So we're in remedies now. Remedies is ticked. Now I'm going to tick on books. So now I'm still in reference library, but now my book list is up. And of course, if I were to click a plus sign on any of these books, it would also open the books up, and then I'd see the remedies. So when you're on the remedies, you see the remedies, and when you open them up, you see the books that have information about those remedies. When you're on the books, you see the books as the list, but then you can open up the books and see which remedies are in the book. But I'm going to type to search reliable because I want to go to the reliable reversed. Whenever you have a repertory that has a reversed version of it, then you can actually open it up. I'm going to move my highlight down into the book, and I'm going to type MEZ to get to mesorinum. There it is right there, and I'm going to click it. And so now I've overridden the Photox tab for mesorinum. I'm pulling up the reversed reliable information on mesorinum. And now you can see it's one remedy, and I can see every single rubric that's in the reliable repertory that's listed under mesorinum. Another way to do that, if you just want to study the remedy and what rubrics are, what rubrics have that remedy has, is to come over here to the repertory and filter. This is the filter icon, and you find it everywhere in the program. It's in the reference library, it's in repertory module, it's up here in global search, and it's in the clipboard, which I'll get to that. But when you're in repertory module, if you click on this filter, and I'm going to filter for mesorinum, select it, apply it. And now any chapter that I go into in any of the books will only show me the rubrics of that remedy. And so that's another way. It's another way to come at it. And to turn a filter off, you simply click on the purple circle, which if you turn it off here in the chapter, it will remain behind. I can turn it off here in the Vertigo chapter. And now I'm looking at all the remedies in the Vertigo chapter, but you'll notice that the purple circle is still back here. And that's because if I had turned it off only in the chapter. If I want to turn off the filter for all the repertories and all the chapters where I placed it, I come here and I turn it off by clicking that purple circle. Okay, let's go back to the clipboard. Any questions, Maggie?
Just a general one in terms of reversed repertory. Can you just explain again what we mean when we say reversed repertory and how we might use it?
Sure. So when you're in a reversed repertory, what it does is it looks at things the opposite way. So instead of looking at rubrics and all the remedies within a rubric, what you're doing is looking at a remedy and you're seeing all the rubrics that fall under that remedy. That's what any of the reversed repertories are. It's a way to look at a remedy and see what rubrics have fallen under that remedy. To see all the rubrics where that remedy can be found would be another way to say it. Okay. Okay, so we're back in the clipboard, and let me show you the combining, the crossing of rubrics. Okay, and so the way I do it is I take all my rubrics up to the elimination by, I make sure that my mouse is clicked into the clipboard here, and I do Command A to select all of them. If you're on Windows, that's Control A. Get them all selected, and I'm going to take them all up to the plus sign. It looked like only one went, but they all went. I'm going to open this up now. So, okay, they didn't all go up. Let's do that again. Okay, they're all there now. You can see that 2 of them are the combined rubrics. So altogether we have 5. All right. And so I'm going to determine, well, which are the critical symptoms in my case, because I want to hone in on those rubrics. I want to bring the remedies in those rubrics to the forefront. And so let's say that the back pain is one of them. I'm going to change the plus sign here to a minus. You see that popped that rubric down to the bottom, and it's now got a minus sign next to it. And the pain of the throat, when she swallows, that's I'm considering that another very important symptom of the case, and I'm going to click on that plus sign also. So these two rubrics, what I want is, I want to be sure that I give a remedy out of that can be found in both of these rubrics, because I consider these to be very important characteristics of the case. And so you can see that actually, after I've done this crossing out of a pool of 209 remedies, there are only 6 remedies that cross those 2 rubrics. And you can see the graph by hitting show graph. And here are the 6. And, you can see the ones that I chose, the back pain that was burning and the throat pain worse swallowing. Those you can see, it's interesting that the cough in the evening also is showing up, excuse me, is also showing up. What I like about taking all the rubrics up to elimination is that I can see the interplay between the chosen rubrics and the others. You can take the chosen rubrics only up there, but then you're only looking at them and you don't see the interplay between all the rubrics. Does that make sense? Okay, no questions. I see that there's some Q&A questions, but I guess Maggie, you've handled all those.
So in terms of other questions, Laurie is asking if we can search for suppressed remedies. And this is going back to global search, Lucy. How can we find all the main remedies for suppressed menses, suppressed discharges, etc.?
Oh,
can we do that in SHS?
Yeah, okay. So that, what I would do is I would come up here to the global search window, just put the word suppression in and see what comes up. Hit activate this search. It's a big search result, and it took a few seconds, extra seconds for the program to find all of them. And so it depends on did you say suppressed discharges?
Yeah.
So, so then you would, maybe is it discharges of the ear? Is it discharges and suppressed discharges? You just have to figure out. Of the menses, did you say? Okay. So I would come down to female. And you have the suppressed lochia, and you have suppressed menses. Again, it's alphabetical. So you would scroll to find the M, and it would be right here. And you can go explore this rubric in the repertory by double clicking, and then you are taken to the repertory, and you can go into subrubrics and look. One thing I want to point out is that in repertory module, the subrubrics are the way I have it viewed. You can turn on subrubrics if you want to. I prefer not to. I think it's easier to navigate in general when they're off and I'm going into them. But in repertory module, you can then go look at subrubrics. But if I go back to global search has all the subrubrics listed. And so these are the very subrubrics that you would see in repertory module if you did go deeper into this main rubric, suppressed menses. You would find from vexation after abortion, you'd find all of these under this main rubric in the repertory module.
And Lucy, assuming that those are the results that you want, can you show then how you would actually graph those results?
Well, sure. You would simply if you want this rubric, you would simply put it on a clipboard. And I'm gonna, because I'm just going to show you how to open a new clipboard again. If you click, hold, and drag this to the clipboard manager icon, which is that one here, then it opens that clip. We've opened this. Was there another part to that we needed to do, Maggie? This is how,
I think so. That's, you've done it for an individual rubric. So if you were doing it for the entire results that you got there from global search,
oh.
put those in your clipboard.
Oh, okay, all right. And by the way, you can see the remedies this way, and you can also turn them on in the clipboard if you prefer. Just wanted to point that out. So you can, I've got those authors turned on too. I don't really want that. You can see your remedies within the clipboard also if you want to. So, okay, let's go back to global search. If you wanted all this to go to the clipboard, you could come over here. That would be 169 rubrics. You could come over here and click this. That would put 169 rubrics on your clipboard. I might rather do this. Go up to suppression, type female, and put materia medica search on the clipboard. It would just be easier than dealing with 169 rubrics. And so I'm going to filter for the suppression in the female chapter, activate this search. And we haven't even touched on going to reference library. So this is a good instance of doing that. And I'm going to hop over to my reference library tab, because in global search, you remember, we've kind of focused on the repertory side of things and the rubrics, but the program is also searching all your references at the same time. And when you filter up here in the global search window, you are filtering for both. So I'm going to hop over here to the reference library tab. You can see that I am filtered for the female section here for suppression. It's 414 remedies, and I can take that to a clipboard very easily by clicking this little clipboard on the right side, click there, and there you go. All of your reference materials, 414 remedies, are now on your clipboard. So you can do that. Again, you're free, feel free to take all 169 rubrics to the clipboard, but that, I don't know, that seems like it's too much to handle. So I might rather, if I wanted to take a big glut of information to a clipboard about a specific topic, I think I would choose the materia medica, the references, to do that.
While you're there, Lucy, on the clipboard, Heather is asking, how can you have the grading showing up in the actual rubric? So I'm assuming she's talking about the view button there on the clipboard.
Oh, okay. You mean you want the rubric graded? Because the grading is already showing up here. When you see the numbers, you can tell which grade each remedy has, because I do have number graph turned on. So your grading for each remedy is already showing in the graph side of things. And it would show also here in if you turned on the remedies by grade, you could do it by grade if you wanted. And then the top grades would come up to the top. Then you can see the remedies in the clipboard side as well by grade. And these are two very big rubrics. And so that's why show more is here. If I clicked show more, it would just, expand out of control. So did I answer the question, Maggie?
I'm just checking with Heather. So
okay. There's also so much filtering you can do in a clipboard. As I mentioned, this is the icon for filtering. Let me know if Heather has another question on this, but let me go back to this. Okay, let me go back to this more manageable clipboard number 1. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the remedies there. And I'm going to turn off this filter that we had put on with the elimination, because I want to show you that you can also do a lot of filtering here. Let's say you are somebody who does kingdom prescribing. You can find any number of kingdoms. Maybe it's just one you want to find, or maybe you want to look at the remedies that are, you're toying with the idea of 2 or 3 kingdoms that it could possibly be. And when I say kingdom, I mean within the plant family, certain kingdoms there, or within animals, because you can do just the big, large filter for animals by clicking the paw print, the large filter for plants by clicking on this leaf, the large filter for minerals by clicking on this. But if you wanted to dive deeper than that, into, a certain plant family, a couple of different plant families, for instance, that's when you can come over here, and A to Z is the default, so you can start typing and finding them. Solanaceae, for instance, select it. Maybe you want to find another one. Let's say, forgive me if I'm putting 2 families together, it would never go together. I don't do a lot of this kind of work, but okay, so let's say I found 2 kingdoms, and I now am going to apply those. And now the remedies that are here that you're viewing are from those 2 families. So there's a lot of filter options. Again, to turn off a filter, you simply click on that purple circle to get yourself back to the main chart. Maggie, any questions? I know we're starting to wind down on time. I just want to make
Yes.
sure I try to get to everybody's questions.
I'm not sure that we're actually going to be able to get to all of them, because I know we're on a drop dead and we just have 7 minutes left to go. But Laurie Hoffman is asking, she's saying, on MacRep, you can graph it so that you can see which remedy is the most showing in suppression. So that's in terms of your global search results. You can order them by grade or by result. I think that's something that we have not yet.
Yeah. Rupali, if you want to jump in, I'm trying to think how you could come at that.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Oh, go ahead, Maggie.
So where we've done a global search for remedies that have suppression in them, Laurie is saying that in MacRep you can graph it so that you can see which remedy is most showing in suppression. So in your global search results.
Right. So I think Lucy explained how to take all of those remedies and put them on a graph.
Here we did it.
And put them on a clipboard, and you graph it, and it would show you. So yeah, I would do exactly that. And you can see all of the remedies that are in the highest grade will fall to the top. I would do exactly that. Is there some aspect of that question that remains unanswered with this clipboard and graph?
Yeah, so I'll just ask Laurie to come back if there's anything else.
Any other questions?
And meanwhile, actually, yes, Lucy, I'm not sure that you've showed saving a clipboard yet.
Oh yes, let me do that.
Yeah, if we could finish with that one. Yeah.
Let's do that. All right, so let's say that clipboard 1 and 2 are pertinent to this particular case that we've been discussing. And so what I want to do, I'm going to close this clipboard, X out of that. And I need to move my program down. The Zoom bar is in the way just a tiny bit. Okay, so I want to create a chart for this patient that I've repertorized. And I come up here to patient management and I hit create new patient. And the only thing you have to enter in a chart is the name. And we'll just say this is Jane Smith. Okay. And you can enter also, any of this contact information, date of birth, consultation date you can change. Let's say that you did this yesterday, and so you want to change this date to the 13th instead of the 14th. You can do that. You can enter any information the patient has given you in terms of symptoms or previous treatments, diagnoses, etc. So you can put as much or as little information as you want. The one thing you must put is the name. You'll see how the name populated this tab. Once you're ready to save the chart, you've got all the information and you've got your clipboards ready to go, then you hit save. And there's also a button up here. This save does the same thing. So I'm going to hit save. Now this clipboard window will always come up because you have to make sure that you're putting the correct clipboards into the chart. If you remember, I don't want clipboard 3. That was the suppression clipboard and it isn't part of my case. So I'm going to actually untick clipboard number 3. I don't want that one to go into this chart. So once I make sure that my clipboards are adequately selected, I hit save. And that creates a session line with that date that I chose, yesterday's date, the time. And now clipboards 1 and 2 have gone into this chart. And you'll see when I close patient management, I'm going to hit the X here, watch the left side. You'll see on the left what happens. And now those 2 clipboards that I saved into that chart have closed with the chart. And now we only have the suppression clipboard left. So let me open that chart again. I'll show you how to find it. Patient management, view your patients. And that was here, Jane Smith, open. And here it is. Now, you know, sometimes you'll have multiple session lines. You choose which one. So I'm going to open the chart, click on that session line, anywhere on the line. You don't have to aim for an icon, just anywhere on the line. And you see that my 2 clipboards that I saved have now reappeared. And just today, actually, I've put 2 videos on saving patients in YouTube in our playlist. And I just created another one yesterday that explains the difference between updating and saving as new. And I'm going to be putting that in YouTube today. So look for that. Maggie, if you have the link to YouTube, put it in the chat box.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get people as familiarized as we can with patient management, how it works. Any questions?
I think we're out of time, Lucy, because I know we're on a hard stop. So
yeah, we are. Thank you all so much for joining the training session. I hope to see you next time in November. Does anyone, Maggie or Rupali, do either one of you know the date of the next beginner? I should have written that down before I started here.
Sorry, no,
you'll
not
get
at the top of my,
the first training in November will be a beginner training session. So I hope to see you then. And thank you all so much. If you have any lingering questions, please write to me or Rupali or Maggie. Here's our email here in the final, in the training slide. All right, thanks guys. Thanks so much.